This podcast may contain offensive content. You have been warned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diecast podcast, Season 5 Roundtable. We're going to talk about our feels about Waterdeep Dragon Heist, talk about the campaign that just happened. So just to go around the table and introduce everyone again once more, as we've been more than a month since our last recording session.
Almost 2 months.
Yeah, almost.
That's
2
crazy.
months. August 13th was our last time.
Real feast of famine situation.
Oh, no, our last episode.
Aired. Sorry. Yes, aired.
So to my left is Miles, who played Waywocket Sprocket.
Hello.
In his non-Waywocket voice.
Now.
We were just talking.
You just did it.
Across from me is newcomer Stephanie, who played Amalika.
Hello.
And on to my right is relative newcomer, D&D year before, but first-time podcasters, Adam, playing our beloved warlock with now a strange power obsession, Yosef.
Hello.
So we're just going to jump right into it. We have some questions from the Discord channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at Diecast Podcast. Any app plays a podcast. We're there, Diecast Podcast. And on our own website at www.flyinglizardstudio.com and our own Discord, which we'll put a link to somewhere around. It's getting a lot of action.
I posted some things in it today.
Nice. I still have to post the character sheets in there for everybody. So I'm going to start off with my own. I'm going to direct this one at Steph first, because this was your first D&D experience.
I was going to say, now I regret not getting the questions.
Right? Yeah. Could be anything.
It's your first D&D experience, and it was also a podcast experience. So what was it like to jump into this world for the first time, having been a casual observer from the outside?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, D&D was obviously something I wanted to play for like a really long time. And I just like never found the group to kind of jump into. So it was a fantastic experience, but it was also like initially starting, especially with like the podcast element, like I definitely was very anxious. I think Miles, like on the streetcar back, I'm just like, like going over everything over and over again. But like, I remember the first time, like I felt very just nervous, and like, I don't drink. And, Miles is like, oh, do you want like a beer or something? And I'm like deeply considering it. Like, like just loosen up, try and like figure out everything and just go with the flow. I think initially, especially for the first few episodes, it was really hard to focus on really learning about Amalika and kind of delving into that more. Like, I think I did okay, like adapting and going on the go, but it definitely, towards the end, I started to feel like confident and good. Like it was just like, I feel better about these situations. Like I was happy with things, and like, it's like, oh, this was like really great. And like, this was really great. And I feel like as it went on, it got easier for me to play Amalika and not just play and kind of figure
out the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't really notice that so much. I thought it jibed really nicely with like what Amalika was doing. Like we kind of started with this, like this person who had like lived this very solitary, depressing life. And then like, I felt like she really found her voice in this whole thing. And like more towards the end, she was making like big choices that really affected the story.
And maybe that played into it really well. Like it definitely like worked out that way, but like I think it was mostly anxiety. It wasn't acting, it was anxiety.
A powerful motivator in both role-playing games and real life.
Yeah, in my life always. Forever.
I'm going to direct a similar question at Adam. For you've had some experience playing in Miles's Brightwood Academy. So what was it like for you to have kind of like already a D&D experience, but then jump into a podcasting world as well?
I found this a lot, actually. Like I designed this character as a response to my own like climate anxiety. So I'm also a very anxious person, and I have OCD, and I've been really, really like freaked out about climate change, which has changed my life in a lot of ways. But through my goal with Yosef was to create a character who like, I thought to like, what would happen if I didn't care if the world was ending? If the idea of the world ending was something that I was like 100% cool with, and everything I did and said just sort of proceeded from there. And it was very refreshing. Like, it was very cool to come and be this person who had this completely opposite viewpoint that I had. But it was also like, it was very emotional at times. Mm-hmm. And I felt like the hardest bit it was very easy at the beginning, but as Yosef started to develop relationships and he couldn't just be a one-note character that whole time. And he definitely formed bonds to people and places throughout this adventure. And like, I felt like when the fireball happened, like he was really upset. Like the idea that you could lose things like was very like that. And that was really hard to like be in that space.
Yeah. It was an interesting character shift. Like when you say that, cause it was almost like you turned on a dime. Like you went like 90 degrees and all of a sudden you're like, whoa. It's not about this Winter Shield party anymore. And you actually like, in your own Yosef way, you actually started like caring about the cast of characters.
Mm-hmm. I think he cared a lot more than he even realized himself.
Yeah, it was nice. It was adorable seeing that kind of turn when you were dealing with Martin, because just laying into the kid after he lost all his friends.
That's really fun.
And then all of a sudden, like, this boy must be protected at all costs.
I was definitely worried about that. Like, I was like, oh no, what's he going to do to this poor child now?
I thought there really could have been an ending where I just like betrayed you guys and like ran off with the treasure. Like it was something I was giving like strong consideration to.
That doesn't shock me.
and the way it ended, it can still be a possibility as well. Because
I've already spent that money.
And then let's go around the table to Miles. As someone who's seasoned pro at doing this five seasons now.
Yeah.
How did it feel jumping into a different scenario, a module that's mostly role play, and one where it's a much smaller group than what you usually have played with?
Yeah, no, I mean, I loved playing Waywalk at Sprocket. I really loved doing the voice every time I came home. After recording, I was just like a huge smile on my face. It's a really fun voice and character to do. I maybe said this on a different roundtable, but like the over 5 years of this show, like I was the person in the first season who didn't know a lot about the rules among the table. Like I think I knew the least about D&D, and especially 5th edition at those tables. But like through many seasons now of playing the show, like it's in some ways a podcast about me falling in love with D&D very hard. With this character and this module, I got to do two things that I think were really neat and fun. One is I got to finally play a comedy character.
Nice.
Like I consider Waywalk a comedy character anyway. And usually my characters were kind of sticks in the mud and or like very serious people. And Waywalk is serious, but like he's
the straight man.
Yeah, or just like he has more room to be silly and goofy or like mischievous. Compared to the other characters I've played. And then the module I like quite a lot because every other D&D campaign I've ever played, and even the ones I've written, have always had a lot of journey aspect to it, where it's like you're going from here, you're going there, and maybe you'll see an NPC again many months later. But to like have a place and to revisit those places over and over and over again was really cool and really like made it feel like a TV show a bit more. I really got much more invested in the place than I did, say, the Land of Chult, which is an awesome voyage and very cool that there's like different phases of that module where it's like you're in the city for a while, you're in the jungle for a while, you're in this ancient city for a while, and then you're in a dungeon for a while. And it's just like those are the phases, where this didn't really have that kind of delimitation. It was
more sandboxy type of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're just in this place and you're meeting these people and you're going to have relationships with them and see them
Consequences.
Again. Yeah, exactly. Consequences that you are distinctly going to live with.
And you were telling me too that this one was like very different in terms of like the combat. Like, 'cause,
Yeah.
like we didn't really do as
far
much.
less combat and like far less like sort of survival elements compared to say especially Tomb of Annihilation. But yeah, way less combat in this campaign in general. And for me, shorter episodes because we recorded on weeknights primarily, whereas every other season it's always been a weekend project where it's like let's get 3 hours together and do a massive session where it's like it is easier to do a long combat every session. And yeah, no, I think the role-playing fun is the best part of D&D ultimately, even though I love combat theory and like designing characters that will do cool shit in combats. I've maybe back-to-back picked 2 very like combat viable characters, and I like being good in combat. It's fun.
Are we ready for some questions from the fans? These all come from our Discord server. So I'll be using the names that showed up. So if you used your real name, we'll use your real name. And if not, we'll use your handle title. So a lot of multiple questions in each of them. So I'm going to send this one out to the whole table from superfan and beloved follower of the podcast for 3 seasons now, 3 or 4 seasons now. Cat Waterflame, to the table. What other baked goods would you love to see Carl become?
I think like Carl as a tiered cake was a great
Layer cake Carl.
finale. Yeah. It really got into the layers of Carl.
Quite literally.
I mean, Cookie Carl also has like a nice ring to it too.
Yeah.
Good alliteration.
I like Pretzel Carl.
Ooh.
Pretzel Carl would have been fun.
Oh, breadstick Carl.
Breadsticks.
What about like a lasagna Carl? It's obviously not baked and leavened, but
How would
you
he
were putting
like
that in an oven
sustain
for a while.
himself? Like, how would he walk? Like, I'm just like imagining like lasagna being like I can't even
like,
get
slithers.
lasagna out of the pan without it like spilling everywhere. Like he'd just be like, guys, like he'd be like Jabba the Hutt.
It'd be a constant like tomato streak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a snail or
See,
a slug.
No, we didn't really get into like savory Carls, right?
Oh, that's true too.
I always kind of pictured him as baked goods because
Yeah.
of that sort of like sweet,
He's sweet,
cartoonish
sugary.
personality. Yeah.
like kind of childish, like innocent.
Exactly.
Kind of like,
He did start off as a pizza. So
I think that's still like in the realm of fun. Maybe it's not savory, but like, I don't know, like what, like Mozza Carl? Like what would be like a grim and gritty
Matzo
Carl?
Ball Carl.
What's the gritty reboot?
Yeah, exactly.
Strudel Carl.
Yeah, no, it'd be like
Oh
it's
my
like
god, strudel would be so fun. Like the toaster strudel specifically, you can draw on the faces.
Oh, cute. Yeah.
a tortiere like that. That would be like the gritty.
Quesadilla Carl.
Ooh.
Again, still from Cat Waterflame, going out to the table. Are there any spells you wish you had gotten to use?
Oh my god.
I used them all. I
Yeah.
used every spell in my wheelhouse at least once. I was really proud of that.
I don't think I did. I definitely got quite a few like cantrips and things that I think that this can be chalked up to like kind of anxiety and stuff. Like I was just like, oh, I liked using these things, and I like definitely am a creature of habit with like a lot of stuff. So there were cantrips that I liked and things that I liked that I knew would work.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
stuck to those a lot. And I think in the last episode, there were a couple of spells that I hadn't used that I got to use.
Yeah, like levitate was a cool.
Yeah.
clutch
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. But there was definitely like a few, I think like things like dancing lights and like
Yeah.
other things that I just like, I don't regret not using those.
No, yeah, Dancing Lights is the worst cantrip in the game. It's worse than anything else.
Wow.
It's a garbage cantrip.
Wow.
Take that to the bank
Tell us
wizards.
how
Wow.
you really feel.
Well, because there's light, which is another cantrip, which does the
I-
same thing. And
Oh, I had that one.
And
That
you
was
had
great.
light, and like
Yeah.
Dancing Lights is a concentration spell. So it's like and it lasts for I think 1 minute, maybe 10 minutes. But like you have to be constantly focusing on the lights existing,
Fuck those lights.
whereas light just is a light for as long as you need it to be.
Okay.
Yeah,
Noted.
so that's
well,
good.
I don't regret it.
No, but for you, like Dancing Lights was a racial.
Yeah,
cantrip,
it just
I
came
think,
with
yeah.
my thing. Because I was like, I don't remember this tirade when I was picking cantrips.
No,
so
no,
it
it's
must
like-
have come with my character.
Yeah, and it's a good clutch source for light.
But I don't really remember. I mean, I really wanted that stupid broken wand to work.
Oh, yeah.
But every single time, like, I was just like, oh, it's going to be so good. And then it just like, ugh, the dice betrayed me. And
You also had that amazing wand that made that one creature like so much stronger and better.
oh yeah,
You had
the
a lot of
lightning
wand fails.
Yeah. I mean, that wand was fantastic for like every single battle except for that one. But I really wanted to see what the broken one would do, and it just you can't see I'm shaking my fist, but I wanted it to happen.
Miles, for Waywalking.
I used them all. Also, in the final episode, I got to use Illusionary Script, which was the last one that I hadn't used yet. But if I get to play Waywalk it more at level 7, he gets level 2 spells. I'm very excited about it.
That moment at the end, I thought was such a good little, as for like a DM watching the story evolve and you telling Amalika not to let Jarlaxle know about the mom stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's
a
not
mamaka.
Yeah, Jarlaxle is maybe not as trustworthy, so we played him.
You mean Uncle Daddy?
I do mean sexy Uncle Daddy. Yeah, sorry, I used his improper name.
Sorry, everybody. I just want you to know that these get used behind
Scenes as well.
Yeah. We don't just use them for your enjoyment. They are Uncle Daddy through and through, and a mamaka.
I was very conflicted as a DM. I was like, this is the way they want to take him. Let's go. I was like, he's a murderous pirate who's technically one of the other villains in the book. He's supposed to be he's supposed to be a bad guy, but they love him.
We do.
You shouldn't have done such a good voice for him, John.
Yeah.
Too bad we sexualized him.
Welcome to D&D.
That is also maybe my fault. I'm sorry.
That might have been Yosef's fault, to be honest.
I was sexualizing everybody.
That's
to be
actually
fair.
super fair.
Can we agree it was a group effort?
Yeah. No, we really.
I mean, actually,
Once you get that
I was going to
once you
say
get
it's
that
like a
pop
group
top, it
effort,
was-
though, on like Stephanie's part and not Amalika's part. That's just gross. And we're not like Game of Thronesing this situation with incest and stuff. We do not condone,
And we actually had a good ending to the show.
Don't fuck your uncle, folks.
even if he's hot. Ew.
And on to the next question. Let's start with Adam. Is there anything you wish you could have done differently given hindsight? With the benefit of hindsight, sorry. I'll read that again because I kind of paraphrase it.
Okay.
Is there anything you would have done differently with the benefit of hindsight?
No. I think I killed it. Next question. No, I think what was really, really cool for me being this person is that like whatever Yosef said, like in his mind was absolutely the right thing to say and do. Like this was a character with just like almost no capacity for self-reflection and
No
shame.
filter.
Yeah. Like and like I don't know, like regardless.
Like kind of like that kid sense where like kids just say literally everything that's on their mind.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see that when Waywalker was having all this trouble with the rats, because like, you are not doing well with these rats, Waywalker.
Oh yeah, we also still need to finish the rats.
Oh, the rat venture. Sure.
We've got a special moment for that later on.
Oh,
Spoilers.
yeah.
I'm just
So,
very
yeah.
hyper
Oh
focused.
no, just
the
that
rats.
we're gonna record that episode, and it's gonna
Oh.
conclude the gutter runners.
Oh. Is that also today?
No.
No.
Oh, I was like, did we get that memo? I don't think I got that memo.
No.
No, that's my answer. Like that was really fun. And no.
Steph?
Again, I don't necessarily think I had enough insight to like the game as a whole to really have like kind of regrets to it. Like I think there's things that I want to like try like going forward. But everything was kind of like a first for me playing the game. So like it's hard to say I would have done this differently or this differently when like realistically I don't know what I would have done. Like that was just the only thing I knew to do for the most part. Miles, to be fair, like lent me his book for so very long.
The player's handbook.
Yeah. And I kept meaning to go through it and like learning more stuff, but I'm so busy. So, you know, like I'd love to be able to do that and figure out some more stuff if I have time for future things to read more. But I don't think there's anything I would change.
Yeah, when I listen to the podcast, the thing I regret usually is the rules I mess up, which happens like still so often. I know the rules so well, but I still mess them up in the moment. But other than that, I wish there's a couple times I wish Waywalker could have been a little bit more mischievous. I really wanted to steal more using his
Mage Hand.
His Mage Hand Ledger Main to like, because he can cast an invisible Mage Hand and then manipulate with his bonus action. So there was a time where Davil was like, where I wanted to steal from Davil, but then in the interaction I was like, no, I've like just kind of made up with him, so I won't steal from him. Rats. But stealing from more people, that's what I like to do with Rocket.
This question comes from Supaslaya21. I think this is more a question for me, is will the Curse Breakers or the Troll Skull Trio return after season 6?
Fablin 5.
So the answer to that is the next season 6 is going to be the Fablin 5 or Troll Skull Trio. And it's actually, I think, I've only told Miles about this, but as kind of like a little mini shocker on the podcast, is that this is going to be like the last podcast and then we're going to hopefully jump over to streaming on Twitch, because I will be moving to Montreal at the end of next year.
Whoa, I didn't know that. Great.
Yeah. My wife got a really sweet dream job. Like, it's one of those, like, you can't turn that job down. That's your dream. So technically I can do this on the fly and elsewhere. So I'm going to go out there, and living in Toronto on your own is super expensive. Yeah. We've been doing property shopping in Montreal, and it's night and day.
I got courted for a job in Montreal like last year at the end of the year. And it's like panicking, because like it's like I would have had to move if I'd gotten the job like very quickly and stuff. But I was like looking up places there, and like you can rent like whole floors of houses for like the same amount that I'm paying here. And I was talking to my boyfriend, and we were having that conversation. It's like, well, would you like move? Would you move in with me? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, like I don't want to like break up and stuff. But anyways, like fast forward, and he's like, but like, moving across the country. And then I sent him all these links to like apartments, and he's like,
yeah,
what? He's like, it's so cheap. Why don't we live there anyways? If you don't get the job, why don't we move to Montreal? Like, it's so much cheaper.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that there's kind of like this little expat community of Torontonians now in Montreal.
Sure.
Always. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's real life. Let's talk more D&D.
Well, that's still exciting. Congrats. For the people who aren't Miles. You already knew.
Well, the two things is that if you've gone on Twitch and you've done a search, you may actually already find the Diecast podcast Twitch channel, which we are also going to do the Strahd of Annihilation, what happened to season 5 people who got accidentally teleported to another plane of existence after blowing up the main bad guy's tomb by accident. It was quite a. It got nominated for best moment of the year at the Ennies for the Black Sphere incident.
Cool. Sweet. I didn't know that.
I don't know what that is. But I believe you that it's exciting.
Just as a recap for season 5 in the Tomb of Annihilation, their group got stuck in a trap, which was essentially like a garbage room. Oh. And there's this object called the Sphere of Annihilation. It's essentially a black hole. It just sucks things in, and once you touch it, you die. So the way this worked is this vacuum would happen, and all these bodies in the room would get sucked into the orb and disposed of. And if you're just a person in there, you get sucked in as well. So their group had turned it on by accident, trying to escape the trap room. I believe Tom just randomly pulled a lever and turned it on.
He sure did.
And then
so frustrating.
So they had to make essentially make dex saves to not die at the start of every turn.
A 50-50 deck save, really. So it was pretty dicey. We almost died a couple times.
And then I believe it was
dicey.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I believe it was Miles did the Arcana check to figure out that if you place a portal over a Sphere of Annihilation, it creates kind of like this feedback and destroys the portal. You roll on a percentage table, and they rolled super high and got orb and everything within 100, every object and creature within 180 feet get teleported to another plane of existence. So they got transported to Barovia, and above the sky, and the 180-foot sphere of this dungeon crashed into Curse of Strahd and kind of left it at that.
That was our cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we're gonna try out our streaming with that one to answer that question.
So you'll be able to see us doodling and doing all the things.
Yeah. This comes from Lone Goat. What was the inspiration for everyone's PC?
Oh.
So, yeah, Waywalkett's voice is based on Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is also why I like to sing Hello Carl so much, which is Master Shake's first line in the first episode. And then I had played in the like if we ever released like the DVD extras of the Diecast podcast, there was a couple of sessions that we did that will probably never be released where I played Waywalkett's uncle, and so I played him as a level 20 character, and it was very fun to play that a little bit. And so
in the Tomb of Horrors, which kind of fills in the backstory of why everyone's like, "Oh, we're so sorry about your uncle," because we never really finished it, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't really know what happened to him. I didn't make up my mind about it.
You still had one of the best lines I've ever seen of. So it's like the first trap in Tomb of Horrors, and it's like the door closes behind you, and then like the ceiling comes down, and you have like a timed limit to get away from the door. And it was yours and Evan's character.
No, it was me and Trevor were trapped in it, and I rolled a super high initiative.
Yeah,
and so I was like, "Word of advice, kid." Run, and then I
booked it out.
I booked it so far, I was like, "Can I save him?" Like, no, I'm a rogue. I'm a gnome rogue. I can't lift this giant druid. Like, I just gotta go. It's very good.
Ended up saving it. He saved himself though.
Yeah, he's fine.
And then, I don't know. Like, you kind of, I didn't know how to really like create a character. Like, it's very overwhelming to kind of just like look
a lot
at
of options.
stuff. Yeah. And like, even with you guys here to help me with the character, like it was still a lot. So like for me, having a base to kind of just like, I like doing character creation. Like I'm a writer, like it's literally like what I do, but like trying to figure that out while also trying to figure out everything else in D&D was like a lot. So I based my character around Nico from Runaways. And that was kind of like where I tried to kind of build like some of her personality and take things from that to create like a backstory and then fill some stuff in. So some of her like shit with her parents obviously is very heavily tied into like the Runaways and the fact that her parents are fucking evil. We're allowed to swear still.
Yeah.
Still. I don't know why I'm even asking.
This one's for the kids.
This one
It's a much
after
cleaner
everything.
podcast.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know why I'm asking. But so like a lot of it I pulled from that and then kind of adapted a bit obviously to the game itself. But largely parts of like her backstory and like her personality were heavily based on Nico.
I thought it would be. I was trying to create a character who had a sense of calm and confidence, and I liked that paradox about him. That even though he was saying all these terrible things, like he was just like completely chill about everything. I tried out some different voices, and then like I copied a CBC voice. Because I think that is the most like, like, welcome, it's Radio 2, like that's the
You do have really good radio voice. You have the best radio voice.
And so I was trying to like capture that vibe, and I felt like it made him like really, like the things he was saying, and he'd be like, you're terrible. Like, and I did that laugh a lot. Like that laugh
Traffic
took a while to get down. Yeah.
And for John, so you had several inspirations.
Oh, true.
On some
So
of the
many.
NPCs.
Oh yeah. As Lone Goat added in, and also NPCs for Johnny. I had a couple. One, I think the two biggest obvious ones were Cromley and Blastwind.
Oh, yeah. I was
Oh,
like,
sure.
who are you talking about? Oh, Horatio.
Horatio and Columbo.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw those pictures, and I was just like, oh, it's gotta be like old school detective
No.
because like the guy who's the the Horatio character had like the sunglasses on. I was like, it's got to be that. For Duralaxle, that story goes way back. That way back in the Acquisitions Incorporated live games, Chris Perkins, when he DM'd, all his Dark Elves would be French Canadian. And then it kind of carried over into Critical Role when I saw Matt Mercer start doing Dark Elves, and he started them off as French Canadian too. It's like, okay, well, I guess Dark Elves are French Canadian now, so let's just keep on that one. And I was like, I did French immersion for 10 years. I can do the Quebecois accent and give it like a salty, grady, oiseau. And so I just kind of like followed that lead of like, sure, it's already been done. It's kind of established and I think it's a cool idea. So I'll just go with it. Manchun was I was going to do something else for Manchun that came out, and I don't know what came over me, but it was just like, he's got to be like fancy Southern son of a bitch asshole-ish type of, like, he knows he's confident, he knows what he's doing, but for some reason he's got to have that Southern accent on him, just like that little bit of swagger where he's like, you don't know what I can do type of thing. So that was more on the fly type of thing. And the best one, the one I think I put the most work into was B from the Boudoirs Guild.
I was legit shocked.
Yeah, that was
like, is she doing RuPaul? Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, 100% RuPaul. Because it was I kind of did that on the fly as well. I was like, the Boudoirs Guild, it's the Sex Workers Guild. Sure. I better make a faction for this now because it's not in the book. And I was like, who would run it? Well, RuPaul would be like the best person to run the Boudoirs Guild because it literally caters to everybody and anything. So, and also like, you got to maintain your staff, and you got to be kind of a therapist. You got to be kind of a tyrant, and you got to be able to put on a face. And one secret I will spoil for everyone is that RuPaul is technically a doppelganger and can be anything they want to be.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So they just knew you were coming like, Joseph seems like he'd like this person.
Sure.
Boosh.
Yeah. I want to give a special.
And by RuPaul, you mean B, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, wait a second. What are you trying to tell me?
I think as a special it's like a shout out to John for the amount of voices you did this year, which is like a real. I think you really upped your game for season 5.
That was one of my
variety of accents, especially.
Yeah, that was one. Of
I don't know. You've just set the bar for me, so I guess you have to do more.
Every season, I like to go, what can I do new, and try and push something new, and that was doing more accents for everybody.
Your Pizza Carl too.
I really liked Carl, and it was I thought it was a nice contrast to my voice, like kind of like nasal and overexcited versus sort of like.
And you were so like quick with him too, like to like counteract, like you're like, no, I'm not, nope. Oh yeah, I guess that works with the rats too.
Pizza Carl actually was just
he was a lot like
he was almost exactly Skiz, who was our previous Warlock's summon companion as well, who was also an imp. So I was like, this is my imp hellish voice.
Imp voice.
Yeah. But
we didn't know that, so
no, I did.
But I did give him a lot more compassion because I remember it kind of stuck out to me when you were like, "Oh, I love you, Carl." And Carl's like, "I love you too." I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, they're there."
I liked
it's a very different character, but the voice is the same voice, which is great. Like very different character.
And I guess the other one was what was his name? It wasn't Harko. The other guy,
Hadar.
Was just, I kept thinking like California beach bum, just like on his friend's couch.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
When you say Californians, though, it always just reminds me of that SNL skit with like Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig, and like Josh Brolin's in it, and they just talk about like the Schwell Highway. So good.
Yeah, and my voice for Rod the Bod is my impersonation of H. John Benjamin.
Oh sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, Hildy was Hildy was fun. Hildy was just kind of like Mrs. Weasley, but like if Mrs. Weasley hated her children, but like
and from Minnesota.
Yeah, and like specifically like Fargo style Mrs. Weasley who hates her children.
He's a funny looking rat, don't you know?
Yeah, it definitely slipped throughout that episode, but like whatever, it's fine.
You're pretty consistent through it.
That one was so fun. Whole season of the rats.
People have been asking for it. So.
Oh my god, I would do it in a heartbeat. That was so fun.
That was also something that was kind of made on the fly, where I messed up because there is kind of like like were-rats underneath the sewer. I was like, let's make them a whole crime society underneath the ground.
So good. I love that.
We have a question here I'm going to redirect to Steph and Adam from Kaylee Beth. Why does Yosef see the runes over everybody? And what does it mean for the bigger world? And for Steph, is Amalika a princess?
Ooh.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a question realistically for John. I mean, in my mind, she doesn't know much about her history. So like everything she knew was like obviously from her parents, and she was young when they died. So, you know, like she knew her parents were a part of like the knife and they were villains in her mind and just like bad guys. Like she still loved her parents, but she knew they were up to no good. So like she has like this like complicated history where she remembers them and she remembers them fondly, but she also knows that they got what was coming to them. So she hasn't really like dug into her history at all. Like she hasn't gone back and tried to relive that. She's just tried to move on and move forward and just find a new life for herself, which she does with the Fablin 5. So
I like that it's the Fablin 5 now.
I'm making it a thing.
It is a
Much to
contentious-
Yosef's.
yeah.
Can't handle
And-
It's
it.
contentious
and
with
me,
Yosef.
Also
yeah.
Adam, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a strong brand. That mule didn't do anything.
No.
Yeah, but like Waywalker just deeply loves him. He was the glue that bound us together, and not just in the sense that if you killed him and you could use him as glue. Like,
I really thought he would appear a lot more. Like when I was like, ooh, like in the merchant background, you can get a mule with a cart. And I really thought like he would be in it all the time. And then it became better that he wasn't.
Although what a grand entrance for his final.
Yeah.
Oh,
his
yeah.
first appearance
That's a big moment.
fabulous finale.
Yeah.
of the Fablin 5.
The fabulous. No, okay, carry on.
I always figured that there was like something fishy about my own backstory. Like, I remember when we were creating the character, we talked about, like, I felt like we always said, like, he thinks this and he thinks that. Like, he's this very indoctrinated person who's lived a very sheltered life. So I always felt like there was some reason, like, probably that cult killed my parents. Oh, wait, I learned that, right? They killed my parents.
Well,
You
were
strongly
on
suspect.
Denial, and they're strongly in denial.
Yeah.
Right.
And you-
like,
And you've made it canon that there's a big archway that says on the stone, "Don't talk about your parents."
Or don't ask about your parents.
Yeah, so when you go to the island of the Pubashabu, one of the first things that's going to reach is this big stone arch that says, "Don't talk about your parents."
Yeah. And then so the resolution, I could see the letters because I could sense the sort of magical energy of other people who sort of drew power from gods. And I was like drawing that power from them. And for me, that's a real game changer. Like the whole thing about this character is you have no power. Like whatever happens is going to happen. Like your actions don't matter. There are no real rewards or consequences. And the idea that like I can take power for other people and become perhaps unto a god myself. So I don't know, like maybe like I feel like I'm kind of in this place where it's like, okay, I absolutely did not believe in any higher power. But now I feel like Yosette's kind of in the mindset where it's like, oh, maybe this creates a vacancy. Like maybe if there is no God, like I should jump in there and try to get something going.
Nice. I love it.
Oh, no.
For the DM stuff, I'm not actually going to say anything about if Amalek is a princess or not because
Ooh,
I think
secret princess.
I think that's season 6 material to behold. Even though we
Yeah.
we do know that Mamaka is still.
What a shocker.
That was something I was gonna give you after we finished recording and be like, you found this, and just let you process it on your own. But for at the last minute, I was like, no, let's have her find it in the middle of the episode.
Yeah, no, this was good. I liked it. Although the part where you handed it in, then I just started reading it, like not out loud. I was like, right. Need to say things.
It's an auditory medium.
Yeah. Got to say it out loud. But then like, it's so funny because like, it was like a genuine moment of surprise for me. Even I'd started skimming it, but I genuinely didn't read
The bottom.
the bottom, like who it was from. So like on the podcast, when I was like, whoa, mom. Like that was, I hadn't read that because
That's your genuine reaction.
yeah, I have ADHD. I skim things. I miss things. I'm the worst. But like, yeah, so I was just like, whoa. Yep.
And for Yosef's stuff, again, I'm not going to say much, but I will say I am extremely happy that you made that connection on your own of kind of like that give and take of your transferring power, and kind of you just like wrapped it up and like took it for your own. Because I think for what I'm planning for the island of the Pooh Bah Shaboo, it just plays with that storyline and those themes. That's going to be absolutely wonderful.
Oh man, I forgot we were gonna go visit a cult.
That's classic D&D.
A sex cult.
It's on a tropical volcano.
Oh boy.
Cool.
Joe meets the volcano, meets the cult.
Oh no.
And let's see here. I think the last one is going to be from the Big Blue Thing. This is a Johnny question. How do you prepare for running a module? Do you read it over and over, listen to other podcasts on the module, or do you wing it? I think for me, when I get a written module, I like to read the whole thing. And then I like to, I make like margin notes and like paper notes and like write it all down. And then I'm like, all right, how do I blow this up and then rebuild it into something that works for me? It seems like it's overtly I make it more complicated than it is, but I like that there's like a base there that I can build from, and then kind of like, how do I take all these Legos apart and then remake them for something that's going to work for our story? Because if you've read through Waterdeep Dragon Heist, it is, we loosely follow along the storyline. We kind of like do our own thing. Also on a weird note, because this is a module that's designed where you can have, there's 4 potential main bosses that can like change throughout. The other podcasts I've been listening to, I don't think anyone else has done Manchun as...
No, yeah. A friend who is a big D&D fan and started listening when Steph and I were... started the season. He's like, oh, you're doing winter. I've never seen anyone do winter. And he was very excited. I was like, I don't know what that means, man.
Yeah.
But now I know what that means. And that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of people do
Literally cool.
Yeah.
the cold of winter. Because a lot of groups chose to do Jarlaxle or the Castellanter family.
Uncle Daddy.
Yeah, Uncle Daddy.
Sorry, I'm just not relating to
Uncle
that.
Daddy has a couple of, like, everyone else is kind of like a binary 1 or 0 type of ending. Jarlaxle has like myriad of possibilities that you can go through of. Yeah, he's probably one of the more in-depth characters that but I like what Manchun did, because it was very, I always treated it like Jaws, where you don't get to see him until the very end. And I kind of like that idea of like, he's always been in the background, like organizing a ton of stuff. Like, he was responsible for all the newspapers. Like, just like, as soon as he saw you guys, he was like, I have to start a campaign against like disrupting these people. So that negative press campaign was always going to come out, where like, you just gave him kind of like more feed for what was going on. The other big one was the Grelhan Villa, was all Manchun. They were in elbows deep with the Zentarines, and you let them talk to the police instead of you talking to them, and they lied the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why we were in so much trouble.
They threw you under that bus so fast.
Those Growlhuns.
So how much did we like what how much of the module did we see?
I'd say you saw a good 80% of it.
Oh.
Chapter 4, you guys completely skipped over.
Yes, I was very happy with that.
that was all just like dumb dice luck and story choices and stuff like that. Like, just all happenstance. That
Honestly, it just like made so much sense that the first like tabletop D&D game I played just like video games where I do literally all of the side quests, like and just resolve them. What? There's more? Let's do it. Yes, accept. Like, that's just so on brand for me.
But that worked out so well, because that ending was for the Manchun stuff. It could have
cinematic.
Yeah, it could have just been, if you didn't help out anyone, just kind of kept yourselves. That fight would have just been you 3 and Manchun and his buddies, which would have been infinitely harder. But you literally made friends with everybody.
And we were so charismatic.
yeah.
That stabby lady would have
Yeah.
fucked us
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, we started with our lowest charisma score was 16.
Yeah.
Everyone just loves the trolls. I guess the Fabulin 5 now.
You can still call it that.
It's
'cause
both. It's both.
You hate it. You deeply hate it.
So before we wrap all this up, I just want to go around the table and just ask, what are you excited for come season 6 in this homebrew of the island of the Pubashabu? I can tell you it's in the tropics. It's a volcano. There's some type of weird religious cult on it. It's a pirate party spot.
Oh no.
You get to, you oh, one side note, no one really brought it up, but I was glad I did get to add in like a little bit of that chaos party element at the very end when when Fruin's brew finally burned down.
Oh, sure.
Chaos party over there.
I think it'll be really cool to see us not in Waterdeep, which has been.
But we've just gotten them to love us.
Yeah, I know. That's the way you gotta do it, right? Just be in the place where they're like, "You're great. You want a favor? All the favors."
Debatable.
And you've got a whole butt ton of money as well.
Yeah, I gotta spend some of that money before the game.
Oh, yeah, we're rich.
We're too famous now.
Number
We
one.
need to go somewhere else where
I've never-
paparazzi leave us alone.
I've never had a ring of spell storing, and I really want one. But yeah, I think that'll be neat. It'll, like a bit more of an, even though like what I liked about Dragon Heist is that it wasn't a like moving around adventure show, but I think these characters on the road would be very fun.
Yeah. I'm also interested to see how you're gonna. You called it at the end when you read up the letter where you're like, I think she's confusing me with my uncle.
Yeah. yeah, probably. He has the exact same name, although he has more middle names.
What was I gonna say? Fuck, I don't even remember now. I'm excited for Amalika to be able to utilize her sunglasses, like her proper sunglasses. So that's fun. She's gonna use those so hard on this tropical island that she's going to hate. I mean, she'll like it a little bit, but like at night, obviously. And then like I'm excited to kind of explore some of the backstory because, like I said, like again, she was very heavily based on Nico, and like that'll obviously carry forward into future episodes. But like now we're kind of like diverting from like the story like that I kind of pulled from Runaways, and it's like kind of becoming its original thing and like transforming into something else. So it's going to be fun to see how she evolves. And obviously she did change very much as she made friends and like found a home and that sort of thing. But now it's like literally like, you know, she built a family and now there's like actual family that's still alive. And like, I'm interested to see how she processes that after spending so much time trying to move on from that.
Well, a question for you then: how does she go forward now with Senior Uncle Daddy? Like, what's like? Does she want him more in her life? Is that something where because he's off trying to get Lusk and
I think Waywalk has sown like some seeds of doubt in her mind, and like you know, like I think for the majority of the campaign, she spent it being wary of him, and then like it was revealed, and she was still wary, and then like kind of had a moment where she like broke down and was just excited about it, and then like Waywalk it kind of like reined it back in, probably for the best. So I think like it's a matter of her kind of like setting boundaries there and just kind of keeping it in line and making sure that she doesn't kind of like overshare and, you know, jeopardize what we're doing in the process of trying to kind of like reclaim some actual family. And like, does she even want this actual family after, you know, spending time coming to the, like really just like coming to terms with the fact that they're kind of actually shitty people. Yeah. All of them. Like, even though she loved her family, they were bad guys. And like, does she want that in her life?
Well, I thought letting that guy go free was a really interesting choice. Because it was really like, I feel like these kinds of narratives are all about finding out more and like getting invested and getting swept up in this thing. And I thought it was kind of refreshing that she was more like, you know what, like I'm doing my own thing now. Like whatever this revenge plot line is, like it's not about me anymore.
Yeah. I felt like that was like the best choice for her. Like she didn't need to rehash that, and like that just would have opened up like all new wounds. It's not like they didn't murder people previously, but you know, like that was something else, right? Like that's not them surviving. That's not for any other reason than just like straight up revenge. And again, like she's self-aware of the fact that her family made those choices that got them killed. You know, like they chose to be in the knife. They chose to do what they did, and that inevitably left them dead. Although not so dead after all, but like, you know, it's
Fake
like
deaths.
Yeah. It's like that guy was paid and like to take care of them. And it's like, fine. Yeah. They had it coming.
That's the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Yosefy, I guess, in like a little way that is just kind of like, it is what it is. Like it kind of, you know, not quite as Yosefy, but.
Well, I think I think now he's in a, like this whole exercise for me was kind of like a therapy thing because I really wanted to.
What's not having anxiety like?
Yeah, or it's like what is yeah, exactly. Like what is life like for people who don't experience anxiety or self-reflection at all? Like so the challenge was whenever something came Yosef's way, like he just really
came waywalking. I like that better.
He just really acted without, you know, caring about other people's feelings, what other people wanted, like, and that didn't necessarily make him like a bad person or an evil person, but like he was just really like living his truth, and I really appreciated that. Now I'd say like Yosef has a mission. Like now there is something really clear that he feels he has to do. I think it's like a challenge for him as well to go from like, okay, like the universe will just sort of play out the way it's going to play out and I'm just going to enjoy myself versus like, I actually want to change the world. Like I have this sense of myself as an important person and I'm going to make changes. And I think that someone who is like that, like someone who both has something they really, really want to get done and has that insane level of confidence that he has is really dangerous. Like, I think this is going to be a new, like, more dangerous version.
Yeah,
of
I
this
definitely
character.
feel anxious about your character without anxieties. Like, at the end of that, I was like, oh no, I sense bad things. Like, just
Villain origin story.
yeah, yeah.
I think I think that's wonderful because one of the things about Fallen Aasimar is that they're always trying to. They kind of have like if you wish to do it, you can have this kind of like quest to like redeem yourself and become like a regular Aasimar. You have to like kind of achieve or like venture towards them, and I feel like that's just following that path of you now have this goal to do something, and is this the goal that gets your fancy wings back instead of like your scary bat wings type of thing.
I feel like with Yosef it could go either way. Like I don't know if it's like I think like whatever happens next, like I'd like this character to just be like entirely self-directed. Like I think from his perspective, either earning better angel wings or better bat wings, it's like kind of like tomato as long as they are better wings.
Yeah.
Like
they're not the same
Potato,
wings.
potato.
Yeah.
The potato, evil potato. And I think, before we call it off, or before we say goodbye for the season finally, there is one aspect that I did introduce, which I will have homework for everybody later on, is the introduction of Acquisitions Incorporated into...
oh, right.
Yeah,
We're like secret agents or something.
You've been offered a franchise. Essentially, it's a company that gets people to go out and acquire things for money. And
We're already rich.
Yeah.
that's why he's really interested in you. He's like, they've already acquired quite a bit. They've proven they can do it.
Gotcha. Okay, carry on.
But it adds a neat little color and flavor to it, where it's when you open a franchise, you can actually assign jobs and positions to people.
Oh no. I feel like I already see like, oh no.
Well,
Amalika, we're 10%. We could be 1%.
I see so many harassment suits.
well, one of the things is like the group decisionist, where you are the decision maker for the group.
Oh no.
And you can level up these jobs as well.
Oh no.
And for decisionist, I think when you get to like level 4 decisionist, like your vote counts for 2 votes
Oh,
instead.
Oh
yes.
no. Reject.
And like, I believe in a tiebreaker decisionist, decision always goes to the decisionist.
Oh no.
And then there's like
I can like see like the gears like just
The more power you have, the more say you get. That's called democracy.
there's also like the documancer, where you literally control all the legalities and documents and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's the obuvulator, where essentially it's like you have the ability to pick which jobs you do and whatnot. So I've got like a whole list of positions you guys can go over, and you can fight over what jobs you want.
I don't like the sounds of any of this.
But you do get to use Trollskull Manor as your HQ though, and you got to assign a major domo, someone who's like in charge of the place when you're not there.
That's clearly Alvin.
Yeah. He
He's
deserves
the
it,
only
yeah.
responsible one. Harko and Adar are not adults in my eyes.
You say Alvin, I say what about Liv?
That's true.
Well, Alvin
He's
plus Liv.
sort of dead.
Yeah,
I mean,
also
sort of he is.
Yeah, he's
Super
got
dead.
limited capabilities.
But you don't gotta
Alvin's
feed
like-
them. You don't gotta.
Yeah, Alvin's like the manager and like Liv's like the like assistant manager.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or co-manager. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think they've got like a Quark and Odo vibe, or they could. Like,
I don't know how well Liv would take to like an assistant manager title. Like I think it would just have to be like he's also there.
yeah.
Yeah, he just wants it to be a bar. That's
Yeah.
his main Lift's main motivation in all things.
I think a
So,
ceremonial title would do him.
I think he just wants to serve beer.
That's true.
I think that's his
He's
title.
just content to like stay and like not bother anybody except like unless it's just like, you know, I don't want another drink. And he's like, have it.
Is Lift turning corporeal one of the options, or did you add that in for the end?
I added that in. I completely forgot. I wanted to be like have like this serene, mellow moment, and then he kind of goes like Galadriel from Lord of the Rings, just like freaks everybody out, and then goes back to normal.
Cool.
There was a lot of things going through my head at that point. And I completely blanked on. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta add this in.
Yeah, that was a lot of characters.
Yeah.
I'm
So
also
It's like, yeah, they're all the Avengers are showing up now. God damn it.
I'm also looking forward to, like, I feel like a good running gag would be retelling the story of defeating Manchun, and like my part gets bigger and bigger, and you guys get smaller and smaller.
It's just like Yosef's looks like Swade the Black Viper over him.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, that sounds really accurate. Are you also going to get your little hellhounds?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pooch. Oh, maybe Carl can ride the hellhound. Come on.
Oh my god. But like I feel like that'd be a little bit distracting if he's food. Like
The hellhound's just trying to like.
yeah, he's just like going in circles, like chasing his tail like the whole time. It's just like, get to work. He's like, I'm hungry.
That is something I do want to try. I want to try something people have been talking about is giving you more sorcery points to play around with, because Hellhound's like what, 3 sorcery points?
Yeah, you get it level 6. It lasts 1 minute. It's half your sorcery points for the day. So
Whoa.
it's pretty costly, but
Yeah, I have a feeling that giving every sorcerer like 4 extra sorcery points will kind of like encourage you to use your powers more,
Yeah.
like use that rechargeable battery type of thing.
I was at a Word on the Street on the weekend, and there was an artist that I follow on Instagram that I actually weirdly ran into, and we like recognized each other. Mazzy something. Sorry. You don't listen, it's fine. Or maybe you do, in which case, sorry again. Whatever. Anyways, my point being is she had like a bunch of like D&D zines, and one of them was like for sorcerers, but it was like specifically, and it had like little like spell slots and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
to
cool.
mark everything off and
Nice.
like keep track of them, and then you could like erase and like
oh, cool.
it was really cool. And like I meant to be like, oh yeah, I should buy this. But then I got distracted because ADHD and like didn't buy it. But like I should go back and get that for the next season.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
All
I
right.
meant to tell you because it was across from you, but
All right, so let's wrap this up. Let's go around the table and everyone just give us a let know what's going on in your life. Whether if you have anything to promote, anything to celebrate, anything to talk about in the upcoming future. Miles,
if you are a comic artist and want to exhibit at the Toronto Comic Arts Festival, applications to that close in mid-October. Like October 12th-ish, which I imagine this will hit the release date of that. Probably.
yeah, it's my 40th birthday this weekend,
Yes,
so I'm gonna
okay.
try and get it up by Tuesday.
You got a week if you're listening to this on time. If you didn't, email registration at torontocomics.com and maybe you can fill out a late application. And yeah, I'm excited about more D&D and doing the Waywalker voice.
Also, page and panels happening.
Oh yeah, I have a store. You can come see me.
oh yeah, that thing.
It's right downtown Toronto, and you can buy the Diecast D&D zine, which features Waywalker, Sprocket, and Amalika. Yep.
Mayep, yeah.
Mayep.
Yep.
In it, as well as characters and drawings from other staff at Page and Panel.
Yeah. It's technically like the TCAF zine or like the TCAF staffers. But yeah.
You can see the weirdest hybrid build that my friend Pedro built, which is a ranger and paladin.
Whoa.
The dumbest ever multi-class.
Yeah. I didn't draw mine though. You guys all drew yours. I outsourced to my friend Joseph who did a very nice
Yeah, it looks
Amalika
amazing.
for me, but also I cheated and had someone else do it for me. Yeah, I feel like I have too many things to talk about. As of when we're recording this, my latest book just got announced. So I have a book coming out in a couple of years called Paranorthern. So I have another series that just got announced a couple months ago called Oh My Gods. So I have Oh My Gods coming out this time next year, so 2020. And then in spring 2021, I have Paranorthern. And then this following fall will be Oh My Gods book 2.
Nice.
So I have those coming out, which is very exciting. I will also be doing TCAF stuff with Miles and the crew, which you've reminded me. I'm like, oh, right, that's starting up again very shortly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm always on the internet, doing things and promoting things and taking on new projects. And
Where can we find you on the internet?
oh yeah, I'm Hello Cookie on pretty much everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah. That's pretty much where you can find me, and everything else. Where else you can find me is on those things where you've found me in the first place.
And where can we find you on the internet, Miles?
Oh, I'm Miles A. Baker, but I'm pretty silent.
And Adam, do you have anything you want to promote or shout out or celebrate?
I guess if you're at this extremely specific intersection, you can maybe hire me as a product designer. That's what I've done throughout most of this. And oddly, around the same time, Joseph stumbled into home ownership. I bought a house. So our lives were intersecting at that weird point. But yeah, now that the house is all settled and product design is going to go okay, I'm going to get back to my own artistic stuff. So maybe more to report next module.
Well, would you be interested in doing D&D character portraits? I know that's a thing people, as Steph has shown. I know I've done that a couple of times myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely drew a lot of pictures of Joseph.
I drew a lot of pictures of raccoons.
And you documented Carl through all his forums.
That's true.
I guess for me, Diecast Podcast Season 6 will be out sometime in January-ish, abouts. Look for DM's Guild stuff coming out of Vault of Wonders, and then I'm also working on Big Book of Traps, and then Harko's Happy Guide to Blood Magic, and the stuff I've been running at the Unconventional Gaming Convention, the Journey of the Stargazer, kind of like a 4 colors comic series of one-shots you could mash together into a big adventure. You can find me at PhotoGuy79 or at Diecast Podcast, either of those two. and this podcast anywhere you can find an app. That's pretty much it. That's it for season 5. Thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you for coming and talking about it.
Thanks,
Well, it's
everybody.
almost it for season 5.
Yeah, we still have to do
Almost.
Gutter Runner Society.
My dream.
But thank you for listening. Thank you for joining on the Discord. Keep sharing D&D, keep playing D&D, and we will see you very soon with Rod the Bod, Vinny the Tooth, and Hildy as they...
I don't remember that voice at all.
Good news, you can listen to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the internet forever
I
now.
keep forgetting we're on a podcast.
We're just talking to these mics for no reason.
Yeah, it's really
whatsoever.
weird.
Just into the void. Thank you so much. We will see you soon. I love you all. Thank you.